Welcome to Hospitality on the Rise, the podcast about the people shaping the hospitality industry and their journeys. I'm your host, Alice Chang, founder and CEO of Culinary Agents, hospitality's go-to hiring platform. And I'm here to give you your dose of virtual mentorship. Here, we'll be sharing the stories, lessons learned, and advice from hospitality leaders who've carved out their own path to success. After all, this industry is where many get their start and go on to do incredible things. Whether you're a pro, starting out, or just love the hustle, this podcast highlights what makes hospitality extraordinary: the people. I'm so excited to have with us today Ochi Latjuba Vongerichten. Ochi is the co-owner of Wayan, which is an Indonesian cuisine with modern French flair, and Ma, which is another restaurant in New York. Are they both in New York?
Yeah, they're both in New York. Actually, they're next to each other.
Oh, okay. That's why I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wonderful. I'm like, did I miss an opening? Ochi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Alice, for having me. I'm so excited. And then, as you know, Culinary Agents is part of our life
Yeah.
as a restaurant owner.
Yes, yes. Well, it's our pleasure and privilege, and it's been really wonderful to see how you've grown from opening to now, and we can't wait to hear all about it. So let's take us back. And how did you get into the hospitality industry?
Well, I grew up in the food and hospitality. My mother owned a catering business in Indonesia. At that time, it was just her and another catering business in Jakarta. They cater weddings for 3,000 people and like huge, huge parties. And then it's not only one day wedding, but it's like 2, 3 days. So I've been around food for pretty much all my life.
Yeah, at that time, where they were, did you have to jump in and help also?
Not really, but I was my mother, like a food taster. So I tasted all the food right before going out to the event.
Yeah,
So I'm
quality
very
control.
correct. And I love that. That's like the best job.
It is. It is. And so at that time, were you kind of thinking of, oh, one day I want to own my own restaurant? Oh, or is it just something
So
that
at
was,
the beginning, no, my original plan is to work with her. So she said, okay, my background, I went to culinary, I'm sorry, accounting and finance school in Australia after high school, and then decided I'm like I realized I don't like this, so I changed my career and I told my mom I don't want to do this anymore. I finished the associate degree and I want to do cooking. So as an Asian mom, they have like a standard in like education. She wants me to finish the bachelor degree. I said, then I look where is culinary school that offer a bachelor degree. Then I found Culinary Institute of America. That's where I went to learn how to cook, and then experience internship at Danielle restaurant, in the catering side of Danielle restaurant. And after and then we were 2 years for the like management classes. And then finally I got my bachelor degree and makes my parents happy. But like destiny, I found like going different way. I met Cedric in sophomore year, and then we get married, have kids, and when we decide okay, he's not continuing my mom path anymore.
and the rest is history. Well,
Correct.
when you follow your passion, right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes other things kind of fall into place, right?
Yeah.
and and you're being modest in kind of how you progressed on those days, because you're a co-owner of two restaurants, and I'm sure your life is very, very busy with many things. So while you were doing you worked at Danielle, you said, in the catering, and then um getting some experience in different restaurants in the New York area. um, when you were doing that, did you, like, for somebody who is starting out and and graduating culinary school and trying to figure out where they want to work or what they want to do, do you have any advice for them? And, like, did you think about specifically where you wanted to work or what you wanted to learn?
So When I used to when I was in culinary school, I know that I want to become like a chef. But sometimes, like for me, back in the day when I was working at Daniel, it was like required like long hours. So I almost quit. I was like, I cried every day. I was like, I think this is back in the day. Nowadays, you don't do that anymore. Everyone's half alive. This is like 16, 18 hours a day. I'm like literally just slept at home for 4 hours and then go back to work. I was like telling my mother, I wanna quit. And she said, no, do not quit. I mean, you finish it. So then after that, you will see that it's very rewarding. And then thank God I listened to what she said. And then I ended the internship. I mean, they gave me a good reference letter. So it's very rewarding. And yeah, and then I learned 2 years management for a bachelor degree program. And then that makes me want to think I want to learn different aspect of restaurant, which is front of the house. So at that time, I was looking for a job after finished my college. It's like, okay, first I was looking for a kitchen server, which is a runner. So that was my first front of the house job. I think it depends on the path where you're going, and then you realize this is what you want to do.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm glad I tried both, because I think it's very very good basic for me to understand back of the house and front of the house as a restaurant owner.
yes, yes. I was just gonna say that, nowadays we hear, what skills are required to run a
Mhm.
successful restaurant
Mhm.
or business, right? And it's
Yeah.
not, especially if you're skilled and talented in back of house, like that's half the battle, right? And
Yeah.
you need that, right? But then
Mhm.
communication skills, leadership skills,
Mhm.
understanding how to run the business side,
Yeah.
really kind of
Very
is the
important.
differentiator. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Absolutely. So good foresight on on your half. So once you switch to front of house,
Mhm.
and like you said, you already did back of house, so that's great perspective, and at least you have a good understanding of what's required and what that lifestyle is like. Um, at this point, were you thinking, oh, one day I'm going to own my own restaurant, or you're collecting your skills and experiences so you can have your own?
You know what? I never thought that I want to have a own restaurant, especially with Cedric, my husband, and also business partner. I was just like, just keep on going what I'm doing, and then yeah, and then one day we met our business partner, and he was like, "Let's do Indonesian restaurant." I was like, "Ooh, that's a good idea." Also, my mom back in the day also told me and Cedric, "You guys should open a restaurant, Indonesian restaurant." And then there's no Indonesian restaurant here in New York City, and then the flavor is not well known by people. I think we should start introducing it. Yeah, which I'm glad right now. I mean, we opened Wayan 7 years ago, and now we have in New York City, we have in Aspen,
Yes.
we have in Hamptons, and we also have in Miami. Yeah,
Yes,
and
continue.
too many more.
Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations on that growth. We're going to dissect that a little bit because you make it sound so easy, but we all know that each one of these openings has its own challenges.
Uh-huh.
Expansion into other cities is even more
Very
challenges
challenging.
on top of that.
Hmm. Yeah.
When you opened your first, when you opened YN, were what were can you remember one? I'm sure there were many. Can you remember one like challenge that you had that was like,
I think every day is a challenge there. I mean, like get the team together. I mean, like manage everything. It's like I feel like it's everything is crumble, especially it's our first restaurant. We're not that as structured as corporate, but we're trying to make everything look seamless, like nice. And the most important is the hospitality. People doesn't know what behind like the back door. As long as when guests come to the restaurant, we smile, we greet them, we acknowledge if it's their birthday, their graduation, or there any celebration type of celebration. So they wanna be treated like specials, right? So that's why we have a restaurant, and complement the great food. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a skill in and of itself, right? Especially
Mhm.
for first time owners or any new project, any new restaurant, is making sure that nobody sees the stuff that you're still kind of fixing or building in
Yeah, oh, yeah.
parallel. And
Yeah.
because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, the guests are coming, they're interested in, what you have to offer. They want to have a good time, they want to experience. And, especially nowadays, the hospitality part of it is so important. It's a big differentiator,
Yeah.
especially in a city like New York or any of the cities that you mentioned, where, there are exciting openings all the time. There's so many options. And now more than ever, there's different ways that people can kind of find out where they want to eat, and their friend
Yeah.
recommended this, and there's a review
Mhm.
here, and it's almost overwhelming. How do you actually? That's a good point. How do you um, uh, how do you stay true to kind of your vision and purpose of what you're introducing? The type of food, the style, etc. When there's so much noise with like what people want, what they think.
Yeah.
Um,
That reviews is it happens, but I think we have to be proud what we're offering to people, and then we have to believe in w- our concept. I think that's number one, and stay consistency. I think that's very important, like not only consistency in what we offer in the food, but also the hospitality. I think it's
yeah.
very important. Mhm.
What was one of the biggest challenges when you opened your first location outside of Manhattan?
The first location outside Manhattan in
Outside, yeah.
Aspen. Oh, it's a different story.
Aspen's a whole other country. Yeah.
Okay, so no, we're not. We open in the Hamptons first before
Mhm.
Aspen. In the Hamptons is very different. I mean,
Yeah, that's
people
another
like,
country too.
yeah, the people like to be like extra tempered. So this is something that we have to acknowledge, and then we have to know, like they come for more than 2 3 times. We have to acknowledge them by their names, and then like, and then of course, like when they come a few times, we Cedric, my husband, who also is my business partner again, he loves to give extra to all those people. So challenges, I think you just have to remain consistent.
Yeah.
If you remain consistent, I think those challenges is like a daily problem that you fix.
It's a good problem to have too if you have repeat
Yeah.
customers, right?
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
and that's I mean, it's like it's a self-fulfilling kind of like a cycle where, the repeat customers continue to be repeat customers because you're acknowledging them and you're giving them the hospitality that they expect and they like
E-
that. So, um
exactly.
the power of hospitality, right?
Yeah. But also, I'm just telling you, I think that's I learned from the past, because I mean, per se it was my first job as a fan of the house, and then I think like I mean, their philosophy is like it shaped me to who I am right now, because I think I learned from the sense of urgency. Like even though how busy we are, we always have to stay calm, and then we just have to like be meticulous, like because it's like a, it's a very high standard there, and then and now who I am today, and I have a standard also for my for the restaurants. Mhm.
Yeah. And that's a really important thing to highlight also is, where you choose to work and learn from
Mhm.
is really important too. Because it
Exactly.
will shape and inform you when you develop your own style, right? Even if you don't open
Correct.
your own restaurant.
Correct. Yes.
Right. And that's something especially nowadays and you mentioned earlier, some how things kind of used to be done a little bit. Things have changed. Things have evolved. This industry continues to evolve. I mean, Culinary Agents is 14 years old, so I very much remember, some of the challenges that. Quite frankly, I started the company because one of my close friends who graduated from the CIA was, juggling these hours and trying to make a name for himself and trying to, do side hustles. And I was like, you need better tools, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
um,
thank for that, because culinary agents like helping me. I mean, right now, like we are using for our current restaurant in New York City and the Hamptons, and also the one in Miami, we use the culinary agents. So it's very, very helpful. We found those amazing teams who help me, to help me this restaurant growth.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for that feedback. And we're gonna follow up and make sure that you get some extra bells and whistles too. See, like this
See?
hospitality cycle, right?
Yeah.
um, so you're opening kind of different locations. Are you Also thinking about other projects?
Yeah, but we actually like we're working on our cookbook, so hopefully will be launched February 20. I'm sorry, fall 2027. Mm-hmm. And another side work that we're doing our Indonesian hot sauce. That's still always work in progress, but it's a lot of R&D for that one. Yeah, and then continue growth for Wayan, and hopefully the other third concept that we can find the right space, we can open that too. There's always dreams. So keep
Da-
on dreaming and then keep
I
on
mean,
going.
if you don't dream, I mean, how do you expect it to happen, right?
I know exactly.
I always call it like, my husband jokes around. He's like, "Oh, you're just gonna will it to happen, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because if I don't like, say it out loud or try to do something, then I'm the only one to blame."
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I always say like whatever works for you. Like everyone, as they're going through their career journey, whatever it may be. I think I get asked oftentimes, as people are kind of reaching different parts of their career for advice, and I always say you have to ask yourself the hard questions and you have to be honest with yourself, because people's priorities change, people's goals change,
Correct.
and what you might have started out with certain, I'm going to open my first restaurant by the time I'm 25 or 30 or whatever, and then you're into it and life changes and things change and you're like, well, I don't know if I want that anymore. It's okay,
Age.
right? And just
Yeah, the
change.
plan is no plan, but you always have to dream.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And so for someone, you're making it sound easier. You're like, oh, you open here and then you have different projects. Do you have any hints and tips as you're considering doing another project? Like, do you have like a certain way that you go about it or think about it? Or you and Cedric like plan, like agree to do something together or brainstorm ideas, etc.? Or is it like, do you seek out the opportunity, or is it a combination of somebody comes to you and says, hey, I have this space or opportunity?
We do both. We do both. People reach out to us. I listen to, because I always touch tables when I'm in the restaurant, and then I listen to what the customer wants. Where should we go next? And then they give me an idea. Let's say, for example, Palm Beach or Texas. So then I'm looking or get reached out by local people there. Um, yeah, and then I brainstorm with Cedric if this is the right place or this is the we always brainstorm. Me and Cedric relationship is like we brainstorm everything from restaurants, from kids' activities, from our vacations, from anything.
Yeah. Well, I find it more often than not, especially in hospitality, where people's personal lives and their professional lives will kind of blend together, right?
Yeah,
Especially if
exactly.
you're an owner with, you're an
With your
owner
spouse.
operator, exactly, and you have kids. So how do you find balance, right? Because you're both in the business. So
My God, I'm still figuring out every day. Like, I was like, so come here, like rushing everything, like late, like, okay. I try to be as balanced as possible. My oldest one is in academy soccer. So we have like our weekend basically is back to back driving early in the morning just to watch his soccer games. We travel everywhere because it's the travel. And then my second son is in track and field. And then he's going to championship. So we just try to juggle. At least one of us is available to come and see. I mean, yeah. And then when the kids have a holiday, then we just take holiday too. So then that way we can be together because as you know, our time in the restaurant is like we spend so much time here in the restaurant. So then we try to balance, but balancing is not easy.
yeah, yeah, and I asked that question for a couple reasons. One, the thing that I'm seeing as part of the industry evolution over the years is that more and more people are having families, and I think that is a great indicator of overall how the industry, and individuals who work here, the leaders, evolve and kind of find a different way to be able to continue doing what they enjoy from a work standpoint, while also not having to sacrifice everything else, right? Um, and the more we show and share examples of leaders such as yourself who are running businesses, working on multiple projects, and are able to continue to work to find this balance and share it, and just be real about it, I think the more that encourages and inspires people to, continue to find that balance as well. Because back in the day, when you wanted to start a family, I feel like a lot of people couldn't see how they could continue to work um, in the industry at the same capacity while starting a family. So I think a lot of people made decisions based upon, different priorities. But
But not only that, the reason why me and Cedric able to be like balanced a little bit with the family is because we have a great team. So the great team we found from Culinary Agents. There you go. Right. So then, then we can be balanced because we try to be balanced. So then we give like, we're not grumpy to go to work. We're sharing like, we have to have a great attitude. Like when we enter the restaurant, we cannot be like, oh, I'm so tired because of my kids. I'm so tired because of the restaurant, this and that. There's always a problem. So we cannot. We have to show happiness to them. If not, then it's lit by example.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. And
Mhm.
thank you for that. I was gonna say, do you have any hints and tips on what do you look for when you are looking for leaders and team members to represent, you and your family, essentially like what you're doing?
I think work ethics. If people have a good work ethics, I think, and then we realize that leaders like likes to learn. Just like for us, like every day is always different. So we always tell them like, okay, we have to change this. So it's like more like how do you
Flexible,
call it? Yeah,
adaptive
yeah,
folks.
adaptive. Yeah, exactly. Especially we're mom and pop, so there's no structure. There is structure, but there is no, we always have to fix problem here.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
outside the box. That's what I'm trying to say.
Be a problem solver. It's just, just like what you said before, whether it's the first day of opening and you're trying to like, put a smile on and still, fix while you're still while you're serving, that then never really goes away, right? Because there's always something. And I think that really is the art form, right? Both front and back of house, because when people are not happy in the back of house either, you can tell with the food, right?
I know. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Then you have to
Yeah.
to make them happy. Yeah, not only
Yeah.
the front. Correct.
Well, and as you continue to grow, as you said, you like to touch tables. That becomes more and more difficult when you have multiple locations that are, in different cities. Even just getting to the Hamptons and back into the city during the summer, like that, in and of itself is like a long time.
Yeah,
So you have to have people in the restaurants who are touching tables that represent you the way that you want, right?
yeah.
So
The managers, yeah, they know
yeah,
how we really want those people, and then like mostly you recognize all like the regulars, and then people's coming and I really enjoy that. We like to talk to them. Yeah, like
yeah,
extra pamper.
yeah. So what keeps you inspired?
I think travel which inspired me. Like every time we travel with Cedric, anywhere we go on like for business trip or like vacation, we always like, oh, we should do this for, but we sit to Indonesian food or something. So we
Yeah, it's
always,
like just taste testing
yeah,
everything.
exactly. So whatever that, oh, we should do like, let's say, oh, I like this cocktails. I'm like, we should do this, but we put like an Indonesian hint. So that way it's like tied to the concept. That's inspired me. And then, you know, food is our love language. So that's inspiring too. So whatever that we eat, we share. That's it.
Well, thank you. Certainly the story, and I've learned a bunch here as well. It's very inspiring in general, and I know I smile because I think back of a lot of questions that I get. Like I mentioned earlier, people reach a point in their career, and depending on where they are, I get introduced to them or somebody sends them to me, and I ask them the same questions. And I think one of the amazing things about this industry is that you can take what you learn into skills and you can apply it to any other part of the industry that you want. Like now more than ever, you could start in a restaurant and then realize, okay, maybe I don't want to be in a restaurant. What else can I do in the industry? And there's so many different ways somebody can take that, right? Take the
Yeah.
skills and apply it somewhere else. So thank you for sharing. But on that note, we're going to go to quick fire. What advice would you tell your younger self?
Trust your timing. Until now, I keep saying that to myself. Trust my timing because sometimes what you want, you cannot get it now, but it will get you later. so he can get it later. So we'll, but keep on, I mean, working hard, I guess, and never quit.
What's your advice for someone struggling in the industry?
Advice, please, is just keep on going. Think outside the box, a box. Yes, think outside the box. Yeah, because consistency, it's consistent. Yeah,
And what's your advice for fellow hospitality leaders?
I think you just have to just do it. Like Nike, just do it.
Just do it. I love it. On that note, thank you, Ochi, so much for taking
Thank you,
time to
Alice.
share about your career journey. We're so excited to continue to support your growth, and we cannot wait to see what's next.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alice and Culinary Agents. We're so happy that we're part of your, the journey that we get, like, part of our journey, like growing the restaurant.
I love it. Thank you.
Remember, success looks different for everyone in hospitality. No two paths are the same. If you have a leader or a topic you want to hear about, email media@culinaryagents.com. Hospitality on the Rise is brought to you by Culinary Agents, connecting top talent with employers since 2012. Whether you're hiring or looking for your next opportunity, join us at culinaryagents.com. For more inspiration, subscribe to Hospitality on the Rise and visit hospitalitycareerpaths.com, a free platform by Culinary Agents. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. And if you love this episode, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration.